Have you asked yourself why there are so many failures in the startup world today? There's so much failure, according to all research and statistics that you can actually Google up and find out for yourselves. More than 123,000 startups fail every day. Every day, there's more than 123,000 startups that fail. Now, just ask for yourself, if just $1,000 was invested in each one of these 123 startups that are failing every day, you're talking about tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars going down the tube every month. Now, that's a huge number, and that's a number that can be easily avoided. Now, if you want to understand why startups fail, then I can really help you understand that. Now, the first reason why startups fail is your idea is wrong. And what I mean by wrong is that the market does not need your idea. You're working on something that is no longer needed, was never needed, and there was no demand for it. You have to understand, you can only succeed if the market is accepting what you are working on. Most of you work on things in a little closed room and talk to a few friends, a few family, and maybe some mentors, and everybody gets you all excited. And you forget the real important party to all of this, the real important stakeholder of success is the market. It's the consumers. It's the people who are going to use your service or product. You never bother to really spend time on that validation. Now, because you don't do that, you fail. And this is one of the biggest contributors of startup failures. Second, you spend too much time thinking. You don't implement. You keep talking to so many mentors and so many advisors, and you all have this big board of advisors and mentors in your websites when you launch your startup. But what that really does is it creates a lot of confusion. It does not bring focus. You need to pick up just one or two of these people, mentors or advisors, and then you need to go on with what you have and develop a product that will go to the market. Now, the third thing that contributes to failure of startups, and it's one of the things that I always feel very strongly about, is every startup founder thinks he or she is a good CEO, and that's not true. And because of that, a lot of these startups fail, because this founder is experimenting and trying different things that could possibly work, etc. And in the bargain, not just that they don't work, it costs the investors a lot of money. Don't you think it's wise and advisable to just hire someone who's far more experienced than you in that sector? You came up with a great idea, you came up with a fabulous idea, but you don't have experience of how to take it to the market. You don't have experience of how to operate that business. This startup needs to be a business if it needs to succeed, and you don't have that experience. Now, if you insist on being a CEO, the only thing that happens is you keep repeating your mistakes, and those mistakes cost everyone a lot of money. And now what happens after a period of time is that you start giving excuses for your mistakes, and then you start converting your mistakes as actually successes and saying, well, actually, this is really a part of my success story. It's not really a failure. This is not really a mistake. And all of this does not help, because if what you are saying is correct and what I am saying is wrong, then I don't think we would have had 90% failures in the startup world. We are having a huge failure ratio in the startup world, and somebody needs to wake up. And the first person that needs to wake up are the founders of startup companies. You need to wake up and realize that you are doing something fundamentally wrong. Otherwise, this ratio of failure cannot exist. Then the other factor that contributes to failure is that you scale too quickly. Your business seems to grow for no apparent reason. It actually grows just because you raise money. You raise so much money you didn't need, but you raised it anyways. Why? Because your idea was so exciting. Why? Because your slideshow was fantastic. Why? Because your ability to sell the idea was amazing. And you needed $25,000 and you raised $2.5 million. So what you start to do is you start to scale the business, and all of a sudden that mistake that could have been managed, that could have been controlled, that could have been contained into something a little bit more robust and successful now becomes a much larger mistake, a much bigger problem, a much larger challenge to handle, because that is what makes you head to your failure a lot faster, scaling. So you need to understand at which point in your business life you need to actually grow. So these are the things that generally contribute to failure. Now, who are the people who I blame? Now, I blame a few people for this, because 90% failure, 123,000 startups failing daily is not a small number. It's not something anybody needs to be happy about as well. The people that I blame squarely is not just the startup founders, but also the incubators and accelerators that are by the hundreds of thousands now around the world. And they seem to be claiming that we host you in our location because we are basically garnering you to success and guiding you and mentoring you. Well, if you guys did such a great job, why do we have 90% failure? Why are investors losing so much money? So clearly and very surely, you incubators, you accelerators are contributing to this problem. I invite you to stop what you're doing and start contributing and developing something valuable with founders of startup businesses. Don't just take their time, don't just take their money, don't just take their sweat equity as your revenue stream, and in the bargain, give us, the market and investors, 90% failure. This has got to stop. I really wish governments set up regulators to stop this industry, because there are billions of dollars going down the tube every year that could be used much more wisely, much more beneficial to other businesses. So I think it's about time that everybody wakes up and understands this problem as a genuine, serious problem that's hurting economy, that's creating unemployment, and it's actually leading young people to depression. So today's video is all about trying to understand what contributes to this 90% failure of the startup industry. And I hope you startup founders take this very seriously and start working on ideas that the market needs. We don't want your great ideas. We don't want your fabulous slideshows. We need products and services that the market needs. Okay?